I can't.
I'm eating goldfish during this interview.
She's eating. That's unprofessional. That's like not okay, guys. Come on.
This is
Show some respect.
I'm holding a
You love
pillow.
Show some respect for the powwow.
I'm
I
holding-
do, but I'm not going to.
I'm holding a pillow because I need to hold something for comfort, and Natasha won't give it to me.
And that is the reason I don't want to record this stupid powwow.
Comfort.
He's like,
Comfort.
You just said Natasha won't give it to you. That's all I heard.
In the frame of comfort.
I mean, you could keep saying that.
Alright. So, we are now done with the booster tournament. Craig was our lovely behind-the-scenes cameraman.
All the camera jiggling, you can blame on Natasha. She was making me laugh.
But yeah, we determined that I went 3-6, which makes me cry a little bit.
I'm a little disappointed in him. I had higher hopes, but it let me down, Dave.
It could have been 4-5. I could have taken the bioship against the Dominion.
Which is still a net loss.
I probably should have taken the Kazon versus Romulan win. Should have had that one. I didn't.
You didn't.
That was still probably the best match we played.
It was a good one.
Like that one, when all was said and done, we were just... That was our longest match. That was the most rounds. I had to put a round counter on that thing. I think we got up to 11.
It was silly.
It was Final Tap.
Mm-hmm.
We took it to 11.
It goes up to 11.
It's a quote from the movie. Anyways, it was fun. I had fun playing these. I had fun messing around. Things I learned. Natasha is a bad,
okay, if we're gonna
nasty
powwow,
card.
no, if we're gonna powwow, then we're gonna talk about how you put way too much stock into Natasha. It is a one-time use, fairly decent attack boost for one attack, but you have to plan it right. You have to do it at the right time. You have to be in range 1, and you have to hope to God that the dice roll, which they did not when I used Natasha.
You don't have to be in range 1. It helps if you are, but
Okay, you don't have to.
Natasha killed 2 cloaking ships. It took out the Burrock and the Balok.
It has utility used against shieldless ships. It's good for finishing them off or surprising them if they haven't had the chance to come out of cloak and put their shields back on.
Yes, I agree. Against cloaking ships, it is great, but it is not a all across the board, oh gosh, Natasha, which is how you were making it sound.
Okay.
It didn't even do anything. It did nothing against the bioship.
Well, because
basically must not have even existed.
Because you didn't have target lock and battle stations. If you had that, you would have had 6 hits.
Without the quality to support it, even rolling a large amount of dice isn't going to necessarily help, but if you've got the ability to keep rerolling your dice and turning them into damage, then having all those extra dice really adds up really quickly.
Yeah, if you can target lock round 1, not spend it, and I'm talking round 1 that you're in range, and then turn to battle stations. Natasha is that setup card that's going to be the perfect support in a booster. And maybe the Vulcan gets targeted for that, but then the Vulcan's taking shots that your main fleet isn't, and I'm sold on that.
Again, I agree that Natasha is good. I'm not saying it's a horrible card. I'm saying it's one of those situational, one-time use discard cards. And I don't think it is a end-all, be-all.
Well, I don't think anyone's saying it's an end-all, be-all, but I think that there's some definite usage for it, and it's a scary card to come up against because suddenly the situation you were walking into has been turned on its head, and now you're facing so many extra dice that you weren't facing to begin with.
Well, sure, if you're cloaked. And
no, even if you're not cloaked. Again, it's just anytime you're vulnerable, anytime you're low on shields or low on hull value, it's the opponent's ability to finish you off.
Okay, I'm willing to admit, Natasha is probably not the best card in the blinds, and I'm not looking for that, but it's better than I thought it was on first look. It's proven itself.
Okay, but again, what I've been trying to say, you two talk too much. Let me get this out.
You said it
Go
3
for
times.
it.
We've just said different things back.
My point being, I flew Vatosh Couture twice. First time against a cloaked ship. I lost my words. First time I flew it against a cloaked ship. The second time I flew it against a not cloaked ship.
No, you threw it 3 times against the Lakota, against the Baylock, and against the Bioship.
Okay, well I don't remember what happened against the Lakota. Today.
You decimated it.
Today.
You decimated the Lakota
It was
because
blown out of the water.
because of Vatosh Couture. And that is a non-cloaked ship.
However, today I flew it against a cloaked ship and a non-cloaked ship, and it did much better against the cloaked ship. I think it has its uses. I will say, okay, let me say what I'm trying to say, and you two stop saying what I'm saying in
Okay, I'll
different
just sit
words
back
because
and
it's
smirk.
annoying. I think it's a useful card in certain situations, but it is too situational for me, and I will probably not take it as just like in a regular build.
Oh, that's fine. I don't know that it actually works in a regular build. Vulcans don't have enough cheap cards to really make it work. That being said, I'm looking forward to making it work with like cheap 1-point crew upgrades or weapons that I can throw out and not lose my shields.
Tiny little things that you can use and abuse for just extra dice when you need them.
You like using and abusing things, Greg.
Using and abusing good cards is how you win games.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Cards. That's your story.
So
Upgrades if you prefer.
I'm going to say this. I liked, now, after having played stuff, I like the Romulans more than I did starting out. They had one terrible roll that cost them a game. But I still like that booster more than I did when I first got them and took a look at them. You played them well against Kazon.
Yeah, I did, because I can maneuver like a boss.
I still like the Kazon about what I did. Their maneuvers are poor, but I think that's a booster that works better when it has other stuff to go on.
When there's some support for it rather than just flying solo.
I'm amazed.
Solo?
Wrong franchise. I'm amazed by the Dominion.
That
That
Dominion was impressive. I was not expecting it to do nearly as well as it did, and it took the battleship down to one whole left.
one.
That is as close to just RNG, just making the decision as you can get if it's literally that little smidgen.
It's a roll of a die.
Mm-hmm.
It's one attack
a
die
lucky
going-
or unlucky crit.
Yep.
I mean, I agree. I think I'll be excited to see Dominion go out.
It's that ability. It's being able to react to a move. That's an area of development that I want to see them do more with. I want to see more upgrades react and let you change your maneuvers, even if it's like change a bank to a straight or a bank to a turn or something, or even like turn your maneuver dial one position. Like it's got to be pointed appropriately, but if it's built in or something, or captains that do it, it can work. So, I mean, the Vulcan's my true hero, though. That thing just...
It came from behind and it did good work. I mean, it didn't do quite as well as the Dominion against the Bioship,
No.
but that's not necessarily something to be expected. Seeing any ship do that well against the Bioship was a real shock. But
And honestly, Vulcans did better against the Bioship than I was even expecting. And it came down to maneuvering, and I didn't set up properly. I'm going to tell you right now, I think my mistake was the way I set up. I limited myself on maneuvers, and I put myself in a weird position to not be able to... Well, and my first maneuver went the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I think between all of that, I was in a bad position, which didn't help with being able to do the things I needed.
you weren't able to pull off the proper joust, get your opponent an arc while
And,
just edging out of it.
The arc on the Vulcan versus the arc on the Bioship, I should have had way more advantages than I ended up having. And so it all came down to maneuvering and a couple of really lucky dice rolls. I think Vulcans could do better if we played again.
They have a chance.
They have a chance. I'd like to swap that game and try it from the other way, see what I could do.
It'd be interesting.
Not because I'm saying, oh, I'm so much better. Clearly I'm not. You took me 2-1.
Maybe you could see what a planet would do to the matchup.
Yes, I think I would actually like to see a planet because it would make us dance around the edges, and there a 180 does help you a lot more, and she's got that rear firing arc, and that gets you in a better position too. So, yeah. Any final thoughts, cameraman?
It was fun watching things die and Natasha beating Dave. I laughed heartily.
So, Craig, I don't know actually who else watching this that knows. You're fairly new to the game. You've played one tournament.
You guys have been slowly introducing me, and I like what I see. It's a fun game to play and to watch. There's a lot of interactions that aren't necessarily immediately obvious, but getting really into the strategy of it and the designing a ship or a full build is really alluring to me. So yeah, it's something I'm very much interested in.
And do you feel like you learned a lot watching and filming our games here?
I don't know if I learned a lot about the kind of strategy and how shipbuilding breaks down just because you're really limited by the boosters being what they are. But seeing how important maneuvering and predicting how your opponent's going to maneuver based upon what is available on their dial is actually really blown me away. And also the influence that captain skill can have when it gets down to a few ships. I'm not sold on it in kind of a fleet versus fleet set.
Right.
But with just my ship versus your ship, I think that it actually has a really big impact.
It really can. It can really make a huge difference to... I'll say this, you don't want to take like 3 level 1 captains. That puts you way behind. But maneuvering is a huge aspect of this game. And what you didn't see is the World Championship list was all about maneuvers.
I could imagine.
More so than like the super crazy combos. It was built on being able to do a few maneuvers, like move and then react to moves later in the round. And that's why the Aldara is great. The Dominion booster, it changes maneuvers. So.
Yeah.
So, you're talking.
I know. Final thoughts from you?
I was very pleased with my performance. I was extremely impressed that this is what really made me start cluing into maneuvering. Because you guys don't know this, because we don't film all of my matches. But up until very recently, maneuvering was practically impossible for me. I was really bad at it. And so I feel doing this has given me a lot of new ways to think about moving and maneuvering, and like Craig said, trying to figure out what your opponent's doing. It's harder when you get 6 ships in the middle of the board to do that, but this gave me a lot of experience in that, and I really think I'm fully prepped now for any ship I pull in the reinforcement booster.
Even the Bajoran.
Even the Bajoran.
I'm prepared to pull the Bajoran and cry
Okay.
and have it die quickly. Yes.
She knows what to do in the eventuality that she pulls a Bajoran. But
Run over to me, ask for a hug, go sit in the car for 5 minutes and come back because there's nothing to build, and she's just going to have to wait while everybody else puts their build together. For me, I've learned a lot too, and I've learned that I'm not the best one-on-one pilot. I've learned that my skills are more in building than they are in actual maneuvers, but I think I picked some stuff up at the end here. So
No, that's true. You're upgrade happy. You've always been.
I am upgrade happy. I am combo happy. But so if you could meld like Natasha and me together, and get her maneuvering with my upgrade combos, I think we'd have a really good player.
that's an interesting idea. Is pull like an Archon mode where someone builds the team and the other one pilots it.
But the thing is, you got to understand why the build is, and I understand
You can
the build,
communicate.
but she doesn't always understand why every card is there, and it
And I wouldn't pull some of the combos he pulls in combat. Some of the things I'm like, you're crazy. How do you? How
He
do
is
you
crazy.
keep that?
I
How do you
can
keep that
confirm
straight?
this.
I mean, I'm wearing a Pi Day shirt. Of course, I'm crazy.
Bye.
Yeah.
Anyways,
So yeah, go out there, play in your local OPs. Get these boosters; they are worth it. No, even the Bajoran is worth it for your collection. If you're a Bajoran player or at least somewhat interested in them, they're fun. Besides that,
In all fairness, I will say, Bajoran, you can make it playable with the other Bajoran upgrades outside of a blind.
yeah,
Or a reinforcement booster.
yeah, they suffered a bad fate and a terrible maneuver from me. And maybe on a 3x3 map with a planet or something, they're a lot better. I think they're a scenario piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of these will be better or worse depending on the scenario. So it's just going to come down to some luck of when you pull a certain ship. But I like them. I learned a lot playing this. I'm glad to have played them. I thank these two for putting up with it. And I'm glad that we did something fun and silly. And congratulations to Dale for winning the overall booster tournament with his predictions. It's the only he wins a really cool box of stuff that I'll be putting together. He was the only one that got all 4 quarterfinal matches correct. I think he predicted the Baylock to go to the finals, not the Saleya, but you know, we can't fault him for that.
Yeah, Vulcans
There
are
was an upset.
misunderstood and underestimated, just like in this show.
So, but congratulations, Dale. You did an awesome job, and you got lucky with some predictions. But and thank you to everybody else for turning in brackets. I did not expect 50 people to do that, but you all did it, and you're all awesome. So thank you guys, and look forward to more awesome content from the shipyard.